Kim David here, along with Andy Brownell, and sitting in for Rich Peterson, Brent Ackerman.
Filling
did
guy.
a fine job, and he said he's calling in sick.
The designated
next week.
hitter.
It was a really busy week, to me anyway, for local governments, where they talked about and approved some capital projects that have actually been around for quite a while, and started early in the week with the county board after a lengthy discussion approving a design contract that could add more space to the government center. Earlier, they approved an expansion of the government center, which would serve as part security and part expansion and adding some elevators. And there's been some thought of perhaps expanding the district courts, and that would go into this second phase, as they called it. But interesting, before they voted on this, they had some discussion about all the money that's being spent on all these capital projects and how it may affect the levy coming up. And all of a sudden, I think it dawned on all of these commissioners that a lot of these needs have been put off and put off and put off. Construction costs are going up, and now they have this whole plate full of projects, and now they have to figure out how do we pay for it. And so they had some pretty healthy discussion about that. And then later in the week, the park board got together, same thing. They've been talking about the rec center, senior center project for years. I remember when that thing first came out, when they said he talked about extending the sales tax for a number of projects, and it came in around $33 million. They got it down to 26, and the legislature almost killed it at one point. You may remember that.
Right.
Yep. And then they set the budget at $20 million, and it's been slowly going back up. And then this week, the park board decided we need another $1 million to make this thing work. So the city council will take that up on Monday. But interestingly, that brought up some discussion among the park board about the park department's needs for more space to park vehicles and to store stuff. How the city is growing and will continue to grow. And Friday morning, Brent, we heard from Superintendent Michael Munoz, same thing.
Yeah, with the school board and the referendum and things like that, and you know, they're what, $10-11 million that they've got to try and find over the next couple of years.
Those are operational costs. They're not even talking about, if there may be future schools.
Although there is with the governor and the Senate Democrats, there's a chance for a sizable increase in the per pupil funding rate on this budget as well.
But he said it'd be about $1 million to $1.5 million, which is helpful, but it's not anywhere near.
No, it won't erase their projected deficit. So in other words, get ready for tax increases.
He said they'll make a decision on whether there will be a referendum by August.
The other big story of the week is this H5N2 flu.
Yeah, bird flu.
Bird flu. The risk to humans is low, and I know they emphasize low, but that doesn't mean there is no risk.
We don't know yet, right?
Well, it depends on how widespread it becomes, too, because is this in...
But I mean, at this point, there are no known human...
No, it has not. There are no known human infections in the state of Minnesota. Bird flu. Avian flu. But what it's having is this huge impact on our poultry industry. The last report, 1.6 million turkeys have had to be euthanized in an attempt to control this. Or have died from the flu. And some of our, Hormel is one of our biggest companies in the state of Minnesota. This is going to hit their bottom line at some level or another. It's turning into a big deal, and there's no end in sight.
It's wild. And speaking of the wild,
what a way to open up that series, huh?
It's a nice win.
Brent was one of the lucky ones that, even though he had to get up early, stayed up late to watch that opening game.
Because you're just never certain until the end. But good start to the series, and obviously it's a long series and a long ways to go. And the Twins, too, they got off to a rough start at the beginning of the year.
Oh, they're going to get swept by Kansas City.
I thought
Kansas City hasn't lost a game yet this year.
I thought they might only win 10 games all year. But now we've won 2 in a row and possibly even turning things around a little bit. If the pitching, it's like anything else. If you can pitch, that's the way to start. But I'm so surprised as to how sloppy the fielding has been in the early going.
In the early going, but these last couple of games, they played well.
Played a lot better.
But I want to ask both of you, who would have thought Tommy Malone would be the ace of the staff?
He was hot in the spring, I'll tell you what. He looked good.
And ever since he had that tumor removed last year, that's kind of what his problem was last year. He had a tumor in his neck. He had that taken out. No cancer. Everything's good. And now he's healthy again. So
if Rich was here, he could hold up his prediction again. We wouldn't laugh at him like we did last week.
What was his prediction?
I think 84 wins.
No predictions for me, but it's just nice to see him win a couple of games.
So that's a wrap on this weekly edition.